Let's clear something up right now. So much of what you think you know about football is wrong. Like, I'm talking about things people say all the time, and it's just not true. So, today we're breaking down the biggest myths in the NFL. And trust me, some of these might shock you.
Football is more than just a game. It's a year-round party, and not everyone speaks the language. Here we break it down in real time, fun, simple, and judgment-free. Welcome to Football for Her, where anyone can learn the NFL from a woman's perspective. I'm Dee Dee, raised in a football family. Stick with me, and you'll speak football for her as well. Let's talk football.
Welcome back to Football for Her. Today, we're bursting bursts. If you've ever sat on the couch and heard a guy yell something at the TV that sounded completely made up, you're probably right. Okay, so we're going to start a new segment today called the Pre-Game Spread. For the Pre-Game Spread today, I'm going to talk about pork bellies. So, how I make my pork bellies like an appetizer before a meal is I will take the pork bellies and I will toss them in some brown sugar. I'll put some cayenne on there so that I get a little spice. And then I'll put some jerk barbecue sauce on it. So it's not too spicy, not too sweet, that nice combination of sweet and spicy. I will toss it in there and then I refrigerate it first so that it's all marinated good in there. And then I will put it on a cookie sheet wrapped in Reynolds wrap and cook it in the air fryer mode on my oven for 15 minutes on 425. So I make sure that it is heated up to 425 before I even put it in there. So I preheat the oven to 425 in air frying mode. 15 minutes. Pork bellies. Mwah.
It's time for the word of the week.
Okay, it's time for the Football for Her word of the week. The word of the week is playbook. A playbook is basically the team's strategy guide. It includes all of the plays, the formations, and the assignment for each player. So, when people say just throw the ball, it's never that simple. Everything is planned, structured, and practiced. And this matters because a lot of myths come from people not realizing how complex the game really is. So we're going to jump right in. Myth number 1. The quarterback does everything. Now, don't get me wrong. Quarterbacks are very important. The reality, though, a quarterback is useless without a good offensive line. And football is the ultimate team sport. All right, ladies. So we didn't just make this up, okay? The medias, the fans, and the highlight reels will have you believing that if you have a legendary Hall of Fame quarterback, he can basically win the game all by himself. But let me give you the ultimate reality check. And to do it, we're going to look at one of the greatest ever to do it, Peyton Manning. In 2015, Peyton Manning was playing for the Denver Broncos. Now, Peyton is a legend, but that year, his body was completely breaking down. He had a severe foot injury, his neck was bothering him, and he actually got benched for his backup, Brock Osweiler, for a large chunk of the regular season, just so the team could survive. So, when Peyton finally came back for the playoffs and led the Broncos to the Super Bowl, it wasn't because he was throwing 50-yard bombs. No. His arm was completely shot. In fact, that Super Bowl, Peyton Manning threw for barely 140 yards and had 0 touchdowns. 0! Okay? If the quarterback does everything, then how in the world did the Broncos win the Super Bowl that year, right? It wasn't because of the quarterback. It was because the rest of the team. The Broncos had an historically terrifying defense led by Von Miller. That defense was called the no-fly zone. They were sacking the opposing quarterback, forcing fumbles, scoring defensive touchdowns, and essentially dragging the Denver offense across the finish line. Peyton Manning is the first person to admit it. He didn't win that Super Bowl. His defense won that Super Bowl. He was just smart enough to hand the ball off, manage the clock, and let the rest of the roster do the heavy lifting. So the next time you hear someone say, oh, they have a star quarterback, they're definitely going to win, just remember the 2015 Broncos. A quarterback is only as good as the other 52 guys standing on the sideline with him. You can have the greatest arm in the world, but if a 300-pound man just flattens you in 1.5 seconds, you're going to lose. The O-line is the engine of the car. The quarterback is just the steering wheel. All right? Myth number 2. So, since we literally just talked about how Peyton Manning's defense had to carry him through a championship, that leads us perfectly to myth number 2. The myth is this: defense is not as important as offense. People actually believe this, that the offense is the only thing that matters, and the defense is just there to get in the way. Okay, I get it. The offense is glamorous. The quarterback is throwing glorious passes. The receivers are doing choreography and touchdown dances in the end zone, and the cameras are always zooming in on their face, right? The offense is like a beautiful, sparkly dress you wear out to the club. But the defense? The defense is the bouncer at the door of the VIP section. It doesn't matter how good you look inside the club. If your bouncer is weak and lets everybody in your section, it's going to get completely trashed. Now, there's an old saying in football: offense wins games, but defense wins championships. And to prove it, we're going to look back at Peyton Manning and the Broncos again, but we're going to go back in time 2 years, back to Super Bowl 48. Okay, now that year, the Broncos had the highest scoring, most explosive offense in the entire history of the NFL. Peyton Manning was throwing touchdowns like he was playing a video game in easy mode. Everyone thought the Broncos were going to score 40 points and blow their opposition out, the Seattle Seahawks. But Seattle completely blew them out the water. And this is why. Seattle had a defense nicknamed the Legion of Boom! Okay? They were big. They were loud. They were terrifying. Alright? So what happened when the prettiest offense in their sparkly dress in the history of the NFL met the meanest bouncers in the league? The defense absolutely destroyed them. The Seahawks didn't just stop Peyton Manning, they embarrassed him. The defense intercepted his passes, caused fumbles, and actually scored points themselves. The final score, 43-8. The greatest offense in history only scored 8 measly points because the Legion of Boom shut the club down. So the next time you're watching a game, do not tune out when your team's defense goes on the field. They don't just stop the other team, they steal the ball, they change the momentum, and they are the ones who actually win rings, okay? Okay? Alright. Myth number 3. The number 1 draft pick will instantly save a bad franchise. Reality check. Draft picks are lottery tickets, and a lot of them are busts. Okay, ladies, we're going to move on to myth number 3. And the timing for this one is absolutely perfect because it is officially April, which means we are in full NFL draft season. I know a lot of us are already getting our Google Forms and prediction sheets ready to put together to guess who is going to go into the first round. So that's why it's important to knock out this first myth. The myth is simply getting the first number one all draft picks will instantly save a bad franchise. Listen, the media sells us on this stream every single year. They show us highlights of incredible 21-year-old college kids throwing incredible passes, and the announcers will say, "This is the guy. He is a savior. He's going to turn the entire franchise around."
Yeah,
but
what's
girl,
going on, man? Like, look, first of all, the skill set, okay, of Trey Lance takes this Kyle Shanahan offense over the top to a championship level, to heights I don't think Kyle Shanahan has seen. And of course, I have some tape to show you guys what I'm talking about Trey Lance. First of all, throwing with timing from the pocket, okay? This is not what people are used to seeing from a Shanahan offense, but he can do it and he has a strong arm. And here's the play action and bootleg. Look how much pressure a guy like Trey Lance can put on a defense, because he does have running ability, so you don't know whether to stay back in the pass or attack Trey Lance, because he can make you miss. You see him throwing it on time right here. But this is what I love. This is what sets him apart. This is what sets him apart. He's going 60 for a touchdown. Imagine the space that'll open up for the 49ers running back, because their quarterback now can do this.
let me give you a reality check. A draft pick is not a guarantee. It is a very expensive lottery ticket. We have to remember why a team gets the first overall draft pick in the first place. The NFL is designed so that the absolutely worst team in the league gets the first choice. So they've already been making mistakes. They've already been playing trash. Even Cam Newton recently said this, and people gave him a hard time, but it is what it is. And that's my birthday twin, by the way. If a team finishes with a 2-15 record, it's not just because they were missing one good player. It means their offensive line can't block. It means their defense can't tackle. It probably means their front office is in a mess. And they might even have a brand new head coach trying to install a whole new system. This house is completely broken. So think about it like this. Imagine buying a beautiful, sparkly $5,000 crystal chandelier. It's gorgeous. It's top of the line. But if you're hanging it in a house that has a cave-in roof, busted plumbings, and termites, that chandelier isn't going to fix the house. Eventually, the roof is going to crash down in on it. So if you don't believe me that the draft is such a total gamble, let me give you some receipts. I want to give you the names of 3 guys who were drafted in the top 3, the absolute cream of the crop, who ended up being some of the biggest busts in modern NFL history. Okay, number 1, Jamarcus Russell. Who? Yeah. He was drafted first overall in 2007 by the Oakland Raiders. Ladies, this is the ultimate cautionary tale. Jamarcus Russell was a quarterback with an absolute cannon for an arm. The Raiders drafted him number 1 overall and handed him a $68 million contract. Now remember, this is almost 20 years ago. They handed him this contract before he ever played a single professional game. But here was the problem. He had zero work ethic. There is a famous rumor that the coaches suspected that he wasn't watching the film that they sent home with him. So the coaches gave him a blank DVD tape and said, "Make sure you watch these plays tonight." The next day they asked him what he thought about the plays, and Jamarcus said, "Oh, they look great. They look great." He didn't even know that the tapes were blank. He was out of the entire NFL in just 3 years. $68 million for 3 years. The number 2 example. Trey Lance. Who? Trey Lance. You don't know who he is, right? Neither did I. Trey Lance drafted 3rd overall in 2021 by the San Francisco 49ers. This one breaks my heart because it shows how desperate teams get for a quarterback. The 49ers wanted Trey Lance so badly that they traded 3 first-round draft picks just to move up and get him at number 3. They mortgaged their future for this kid. The result? He suffered injuries. He struggled to learn the offense, and he ended up starting a grand total of exactly 4 games for the 49ers before they completely gave up and traded him away for a massive 4th-round pick. They basically traded a brand new Ferrari for a used bicycle. All right, number 3, Zach Wilson. Who? Yeah. Drafted 2nd overall in 2021 by the New York Jets. The Jets drafted Zach Wilson because he looked incredible, making wild, flashy throws at a smaller college. The New York media immediately crowned him savior of the franchise. But when he actually got onto the NFL field against giant, fast, terrifying defenders, he looked completely lost. He couldn't read the defenses, he was throwing interceptions left and right, and he famously refused to take accountability in a press conference when the defense played a perfect game and he couldn't score a single touchdown. The Jets had to bench their savior for the 3rd-string backup and eventually shipped him out of town. So the next time your team gets a top 3 pick and everyone starts celebrating and buying jerseys, just remember those names, if you can. You never truly know what you're getting until they actually step on the field. And remember the GOAT, Tom Brady, he was drafted at 199 in the 6th round. So don't always think that the 1st-round draft pick is going to save your team. All right, now this is going to bring me to myth number 4. Halftime adjustments are a huge strategic locker room meeting. So, all right, ladies, we have made it to our final myth. And honestly, this is where Hollywood has completely lied to us. Okay, so the myth simply is halftime is a massive, dramatic strategy session where coaches draw up brand new plays on a chalkboard and save the game, right? And if you've ever seen movies like Remember the Titans or Any Given Sunday, you know exactly the scene. The music swells, the coach gives this tear-jerking inspirational speech, and they erase the whole playbook, and they come out a completely different team. Girl, let me give you a reality check. Halftime in the NFL is not a movie scene. It is pure, unadulterated chaos. So let's break down the actual math of an NFL halftime. It's exactly 13 minutes long. That's it, 13 minutes. Now, think about the size of an NFL stadium. It takes these guys 2 to 3 minutes just to jog off the field, get through the tunnel, and actually walk into their locker room. Now we're down to 10 minutes. And remember, they have to get back out there. So you may ask, then what happens in those 10 minutes? It's not a quiet classroom. You have 53 massive, exhausted guys ripping off their helmets. They're fighting to get into the bathroom. You got the medical staff running around, frantically taping up sprained ankles, giving out IV fluids, and checking for concussions. Equipment managers are literally sewing up torn jerseys and swapping out broken cleats. So, think about the sheer chaos of hosting Thanksgiving dinner. Imagine trying to pull a turkey out of the oven, carve it, and make sure the gravy is perfectly hot, all while 50 hungry people are screaming in your kitchen and you only have 5 minutes before the doors open. That's what the NFL locker room feels like. By the time the players actually sit down at their lockers and catch their breath, the coaches maybe have 3 minutes to actually speak to them. There is zero time to invent new plays. There is no dramatic speech. What actually happens is the coach will walk over to maybe the quarterback and yell something quick like, "Hey, they're blitzing your linebackers, so you need to get the ball out of your hands a half a second quicker." It's just a tiny, quick tweak to stay in survival mode. So, before they even finish drinking their water, the officials are banging on the door yelling, 2 minutes, let's go! So the next time the announcer on TV says, "Wow, they made some incredible halftime adjustment," just laugh, because the only thing they really adjusted was getting some fresh tape on their ankles and a quick bathroom break. Myth number 4, busted. Okay, so girl, let's talk about everything that we've gone over so far. I know the quarterback does everything is a myth, and we now know that society always praises the quarterback, the boss, the face of the brand, the loud one. But now we all know it's the whole offensive line. The assistants, the moms behind the scene, the organizers doing the heavy lifting to keep the whole thing from collapsing.
Guess what I just heard? Okay, what I just heard. The unheard of Kirk Cousins deal. Kirk Cousins signing with the Los Angeles Raiders is making waves because of a brilliant salary cap loophole. On paper, it was announced as a 5-year, $172 million deal. But in reality, it operates as a 1-year, $20 million agreement. The Raiders structured the contract to exploit the NFL's offset rule. Okay, so here's how this works. The Raiders are going to give Cousins $1.3 million in 2026 and deferred $10 million roster bonus in 2027. The Raiders are only going to have to pay $11.3 million while forcing the Atlanta Falcons to pay the remaining $8.7 million of his 2026 earnings. Vegas essentially landed a starting caliber veteran at a massive discount while forcing his former team to fit the bill. Now, this move reunites Cousins with his former offensive coordinator, now head coach Clint Kubiak of the Raiders. Now, rumor has it that Kubiak wants Fernando Mendoza to ride the bench in Vegas. They do expect to draft him overall from Indiana in the draft, right? But this ties perfectly into what the Kirk Cousins breakdown. While everyone assumes the Raiders are taking Fernando first overall to be the immediate savior, Kubiak actually said, ideally, you don't want him to start from day one. You love for him to be able to learn behind somebody. That's in a perfect world. It doesn't always work out that way. Sometimes they have to play from day one, and it's our jobs as coaches to get them ready to go. I think it does help the player if they can sit behind a mature adult and watch how they run the show. So, doesn't sound like Kubiak is trying to start Mendoza. It sounds like Cousins is their guy in 2026. Okay, a major league change in 2026. Onside kick at any time. Okay, before in 2024, teams could only declare an onside kick in the fourth quarter if they were trailing. This was slightly amended in 2025 to any time, but you still had to be trailing. The NFL decided to change this because they wanted to restore the element of surprise and strategic flexibility. Now, a team can declare an onside kick in any quarter, regardless if they are winning or losing. Wow. Okay, so you know I'm a Giants fan, so I got to bring you a little bit of Giants. The coaching carousel brought John Harbaugh to the New York Giants this offseason, and he's already looking to recreate some of his past offensive magic. Harbaugh has confirmed at the owners' meeting that the Giants are actively considering signing Odell Beckham Jr. Now keep in mind, reunion in this instance is a capital reunion. because the two worked together in Baltimore in 2023, and we all know Odell Beckham Jr. was drafted by and played as the New York Giants. Harbaugh noted that they still text frequently and maintain a great relationship. The workout requirements, though, Beckham hasn't played since 2024, and because of his long layoffs, Joe Schoen has made it clear that they need to see the 33-year-old receiver run routes and work out in person before they're going to offer him a contract. I am super excited about this latest development. But that's it for this week. That's what I heard. It's trivia time.
Okay, besties, before we get out of here, it's time for our trivia question of the week. Last week, we talked about all of the heartbreak in the NFL, but this week's question is about a different kind of pain. Which NFL team currently has the longest active playoff drought? Meaning they have gone the most years without making it into the postseason. Now, I want you to think about it. I want you to drop your guesses in the comments, and I will give you the official answer at the top of next week's episode. Is that fair? Okay, girlies. So, we took the Hollywood script and we threw it right out of the window. From the absolute chaos of a 13-minute halftime to the reality that the shiny new draft pick isn't always a savior. And the hard truth that defense is what actually wins rings. You are now officially the smartest fan in the room. Now, I want to hear from you. Out of the 4 myths that we busted, which one completely blew your mind? Was it the Thanksgiving kitchen chaos at halftime, or the fact that the greatest offense in history got shut down to only 8 points? Head over to our Facebook group, sound off in TikTok or Instagram comments, or hit us up on YouTube. I love reading your reactions, and let's build this community. As you head into your week, remember our Word of the Week playbook, and make sure you show some love with your own personal offensive line. The people doing the heavy lifting behind the scenes of your life. They are your real MVPs. Make sure you like and subscribe so you'll never miss an episode, and share this with all of your people so they can talk football like a pro too. And also, you want to like and subscribe and share so that we can activate the draft contest, where we need 10,000 subscribers and followers between Facebook and YouTube. And that's only 5,000, because if you like on Facebook and subscribe on YouTube, and my subscription are completely free, 5,000 people do that, we can have 10,000 before you know it. Okay? So, thank you for watching Football for Her, where football finally makes sense.